Thanks for tuning in again. Today I'm looking at 3 budget acoustic guitars, all in that parlor size guitar vein. We've got the Gretsch Jim Dandy, which is the smallest of the lot, the Fender CP-100 parlor style guitar, and finally the Epiphone EL-00 guitar right here. All of them nice little guitars. I'm just going to go right to the sound samples and not say anything about the guitars. You can make your own impression then from what might fit best to you. And I'll tell you right now, the one thing I will tell you, they're all nicely made guitars, and they each have their strengths and weaknesses. So let's have a listen, and then we'll take a closer look at each guitar. Alright, for the sound test, I'm using a Shure KSM32 microphone pointed near the top of the fingerboard. Alright, so it won't get too boomy over the sound hole, and I'll pick up, pretty evenly. Alright, we'll start off with doing strumming, and I'm just going to go, in each example, I'm going to play a short thing, and then it's going to come up on the next guitar and the next guitar in time, one after another, so you can get a really good sense of how they compare. Alright, we'll start with the Gretsch Jim Dandy. And now finger picking through each guitar, the Jim Dandy, then the Fender, then the Epiphone. Right, so now a muted low E string kind of thing. I have to say, for that one, I really dug the little Jim Dandy guitar because it has a sort of, this idiomatic kind of sound. This one has definitely, so more low end to it, But again, it's a matter of taste. The Fender was kind of the most balanced of those, but draw your own conclusions. I'm going to do one more test just with some open strings ringing, some chord stuff. All right, I'll just do it while I'm here on this guitar, on the Epiphone. I just wanted to go like right up. A stuff. We even have the little birdies singing in the background because they love it. I'm going to do we'll go backwards now. This is the Fender now. Finally back to the Jim Dandy. Okay, it's worth noting with this one too that the 12th fret is really then right up to the body here. I'm looking, the other two, it's at the 14th, so you have a little more play space there. But you know, how often are you really climbing way up there on a little Parlor songwriter guitar? So here's the trio of guitars again. Let's have a closer look at each one so you can figure out a little bit about which one might suit you in terms of the dimensions of the guitar and such. Here we have the Gretsch Jim Dandy. This is actually the shortest scale at 61 centimeters. It's got a nice finish. It's a smart looking little guitar, I have to say. Very nice for the finger plucking and finger picking kind of stuff. Has a much different vibe than, say, a kind of a strummer guitar, you know, something like a dreadnought or whatever. So this would be really cool if you're looking for a second acoustic, especially for recording, and you want to get some of that funky small guitar vibe going on in there. All the guitars I wanted to add are made in Indonesia, and all of them played really well right out of the box. Took them out, tuned them up, and they were ready to go. So the quality control is great. I have nothing to complain about there. Really nice guitars. On to the Fender CP-100. The finish on this one is just got sort of like a milky opaque look to it. It's a sort of a matte finish like this one, sort of satiny look. But anyway, I prefer the Jim Dandy. That's just a little bit, like I said, opaque or milky looking, but it's still a nice looking guitar. Plays very nicely. It's actually, I wanted to note also that out of all of them, the Gretsch has got the slightly wider neck. At the nut, it's a millimeter wider than either of the other two, and about 2 millimeters wider at the 12th fret, which is not much, but if you've got small hands and you're thinking, oh, that's the small guitar, it's not. It doesn't have the smallest neck radius. It's a pretty thick, chunky little neck on that, which is really great because it's going to be a stable little guitar if you're taking it along with you. But compared to even the Fender's a little slimmer and not quite as wide. So anyway, that's also worth noting. The Fender is the 63.5 centimeter scale, 25-inch scale, and the Epiphone is a 62.5, which is like the standard, pretty much the standard Gibson Epiphone kind of scale, 24 3/4 inches, more or less. So the Epiphone was, when it was recorded, that actually had the nicest strumming sound, I have to say. The one thing I prefer about the other two compared to the Epiphone is that I like that sort of thinner, satiny finish on the Jim Dandy and the CP-100. It just lets a little bit more of the mid-range of the guitar come through when you're doing finger picking and plucking kind of stuff. That I preferred on those two, whereas the Epiphone for finger picking, it just has a little less volume, and that mid-range doesn't come through as nicely. And I chalk a lot of that up to this thick poly finish that's on here. That's kind of typical. It's like a dipped in plastic kind of feel and look to it, which is a shame. It would be nice if they offered this also in a in like a satin finish kind of thing like these other two. And I'm not too sure about what exactly the material is that these are sprayed down with, but this has that much thicker kind of coat to it. And I have to say I hear a little bit of that sort of plasticiness in it when strumming and finger picking. So anyway, that's just one little minus point on this one, but otherwise for recording, the Epiphone sounded really great for strumming stuff. So if you're looking for a smaller size guitar that's going to record well for strumming along, that's going to be a great option. I didn't like the strum sound so much on the Jim Dandy. These are just my opinions now, but you know, it has a very prominent mid-range and sort of a small bluesy, boxy kind of sound that's has a cool vibe to it. And the Fender sort of falls down the middle. With a little bit of EQ on it recorded, you can definitely get a good strumming sound. But regardless, 3 nice little guitars. Thanks for tuning in. I hope the video's been informative. Give us the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned.